Yo, what up, everybody? Y'all tuned in to another episode of Business is Blooming podcast. Today we got a special guest. I got the homie Regal Beagle on the show. He gonna come and talk to us and tell us about what he do. So I'm glad you guys can tune in with me today, man. It's been a long week for me, but we here, we made it, and we gonna give it all we got. You know what I mean? Obviously, the homie Beagle. There we go. What's good? What's good?
Hey, what's up, man?
What up, brother? How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good, brother. Good, man. I appreciate
Good.
you for gracing the show, man. I'm excited about today's show. I
Yeah,
know
for
it's
sure.
gonna be a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So what you got going on?
Nice shit, man. It's been a nice weekend actually. We took dogs for a walk. Only did a couple hours of garden work in the morning. It's been pretty nice. How about you?
Same here, man. Went in the garden for a little bit this morning. Had to get a few phone calls out the way. You know how that is. To always handle the business. The business never stops, right?
Yeah. As long as you're
For
yielding.
sure. Say it again.
So as long as you're yielding.
Yeah, long as you yielding, right, man? That's exactly the conversation I was having with the wife. I was like, as long as you yielding and it's making sense, man, we can keep doing it. We can
Fuck
keep doing
yeah.
it.
Fuck yeah, you
All right,
can.
man. So we're gonna get right into it, boss man. We're gonna get right into
Sure.
it. So for the ones that don't know, why don't you tell the people what's your name and where you're from?
Yeah. So I go by the Regal Beagle with Seeds. And I do a show on the Weedman 420 Chronicles. I go by Earl. Um, I don't know why I separated. It just ended up coming that way. But I've been growing for a while. I do some different consulting work. I don't really like to call it consulting work, but that's what it
That's
is.
what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. I just there's a lot of people in the industry who say consultant, and they're not really consulting kind of shit. And so it kind of gives it a bad taste for some people. Like I've had people legit be like, "Oh yeah, we've hired consultants before," and be like, "Fuck," like. All right, so I call myself a garden manager. That's people seem to respond to that a little better. It's a garden manager. I'm just trying to fucking figure out how to manage your garden better. Um,
Man, that's dope.
yeah, dude. And that's been a lot of my work recently. But I have my own garden. I'm a caregiver. I'm in Michigan. The industry's kind of falling apart a little bit, so it's making things a little harder to do different stuff. But it's still working, dude. I think it's hard for a lot of people, but as long as you love it and you're pushing forward a little bit, it's more true to real like crops, like
That's dope.
So we're getting just more true to crops with the weed industry, which I don't know. I mean, that's not good, but that's just really what's going on.
I tell you what, man, you living the dream, bro. It might not be easy. It might not be all rainbows and sunshine every day, man. But to me, you living the dream. That's what I pray one day I get the opportunity to do here in Virginia is walk into the facility and be like, hey, I'm Mac. I've been doing this for a while, and I think I can improve what you guys do.
Yeah,
Um, not to knock on the dispos we got here. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they do the best they can, and I shop with them, you know what I mean? So, and it's not bad. I like a lot of this stuff, but I think that some things could be done better from, at least the end flower point standpoint. I've never seen their facilities, and I'm gonna go by there probably next week, man, and go talk to,
that'd be
I think
cool.
his name is Francisco. He said he's a down earth dude, so I'm definitely gonna have a conversation and just see how far I can get.
Yeah. I can tell you from my experience, they're all about numbers. So if you can bring them numbers and say, listen, by spending this much more, I think I can get you this much more numbers, blah, 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 blah. Everybody wants different consulting kind of gigs. Sometimes it's like, well, we'll give you money per hour to go over all of our protocol and to tell us what we need. Sometimes like, it's all different. But yeah, keep going, man. It's not like a labeled thing yet. There's people that need weird niches of information and help.
Right, right. Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. Um, I guess I want to talk to you, I guess, about, your strands and
Sure.
what do you specialize in? I hear Turk Fiend tell me a lot that, hey, if you want to know about autos, if you're into autos, Regal Beagle's probably the guy to go to.
Yeah, I autos, I think, for me, still feel new. I've run them. I've run a dozen runs already of them, which isn't a ton. You know, I've run photo periods for like as my daily job, you know, for like 7, 8 years. And so
Yeah.
being in autos the last like 3 or 4, um, I'm still learning a ton, but they're getting there, bro. Like I'm telling you, these fucking autos people are pumping out of their backyard, throwing a fucking seed into a pot and letting it basically get rained on. And
Yeah.
some of these plants are just wild nice.
Nice, man.
But
Nice.
the photo, I don't even know if it's photo community. I don't think it's split that way. I think the best part of both of them is to be worked together. As long as you know
Yeah.
the difference and you can say this is going to autoflower, this is going to wait. But together is my favorite because I hunt a fuck ton of seeds. Most of my room is hunting most of the time.
Yeah.
And so I when I get I bitch about it all the time if anybody's heard me talk about numbers. I did this 150 seed hunt and ended up with 30 ladies like 2 or 3 years
Nice.
ago. It hurt.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like 30 girls on 150 plants. It hurt me so bad. I was
Yeah.
so pissed off. And that was my first like heavy auto run because I was like, well, I was planning on having like 70 plants in here. Now I
Right.
got half of that, and so I filled half my room with autos, and a couple of just a bunch of friends, like mostly Hummingbird. Honestly, I don't know if you've seen me with any of his stuff. Hummingbird Hills,
Mhm.
super nice stuff. And since getting with him, like, a lot of other people have been really awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a few other names that are like really big out there, but they've just been catching up, dude. And I
It's
still have autos.
I,
I love autos. Or
I would
photos. I
say
mean,
autos is kind of like what films was when films first started. You remember how much shit people would talk about film seeds and they'll never last and this, that, and the third. And then now film seeds have become has definitely gained a place in this industry, bro. Some
yeah,
people love film seeds. That's all they buy, especially for new growers,
you
right?
have to
And my
almost
second
some
question I
people.
wanted to know is, do you think that autos can make it into the commercial environment and
Um,
actually, turn profit?
the the hardest part there is to me would be stabilizing the expression. Uh, they mine particularly have at least two dominant expressions every time now I haven't worked any of my autos like to F2 F3 other than my conversion I'm doing is going on to the F3, but which that's dope too. But yeah, I think they're already doing it. Especially people who are running greenhouses. Because they can get 5 yields a year and they don't have to use curtains or anything. You just fucking run
Right.
it.
Just run
Um,
it.
yeah, you just run it. And I think the biggest thing there is price. A lot of those feminized autos that are very stable, that are from like the great breeders, are expensive, like $4 or $5 a seat. So, and I know
Yeah.
those people buying 1,000 at a time aren't paying that, but still they're paying a couple bucks per,
Yeah.
and that's just expensive to me. So, not expensive like they shouldn't be worth that, but expensive like if you're looking at these facilities, they only want 8 week strains. They do all this and all that just to make some money. So to put out money there, even
Right.
if just a couple bucks a plant, doesn't make a ton of sense.
Right. For sure. For sure. Man, that's dope, man. That's dope. So I've never had success with autos.
Sure.
I stopped growing them maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, but everyone's been telling me, hey, autos is like the new wave. They've definitely been improved. What would you say like the top three things that growing autos you must do or you won't have success? Because I've heard
So,
that there's like zero to no mistakes can be made when growing autos because you just don't have the time.
I mean, I wouldn't say zero to no. Um, the big difference is veg, right? Because like in flower, if you fuck up in flower, it doesn't matter if you're photo or auto. There's no turn back. You know, day
Right.
21 is day 21. There's no
Right.
I'll veg till next week kind of thing. Um, I For me, dude, we repeat the question. I'm sorry, I'm fucking high. I'm smoking
No,
this
no
new
worries.
strain. I
I
got
was just
half into
gonna
it.
tell you. I was just gonna tell you, man. Cheers, man. I'm smoking on some purple punch grown out by the homie Super Rich, man. So we're gonna see what this
Yeah,
tastes like.
I remember the question and the three things for the autos. So, um, I had bad success with autos too when I first ran them. for number one, super susceptible to root lot. If you're used to growing in a solo and letting it get root bound so you can get a really nice, clean transplant, which is what I fucking love. Everybody breaks apart their root ball. I do that a little bit, but I like my shit to be clean and snug, and like it just make some myco powder in there, and just like I just feel good about it.
Yeah.
So it has been, from my research and from what I've done and seen, bigger numbers can get gotten off of a plant if you do that traditional transfer. You go, into the solo, then into your 1, then into your 5 or whatever. It's going to come fast, but you have to do it right. If you let it get too root bound, it's going to stall and die. A lot of them, at least what I did. So I started going straight into 1 gallons and using cloths and just finishing. And I can get a nice yield. They don't grow as big as my regular plants, but I predict that, and I just put more into a space.
I want to see what I read. I want you to try this next time. And again, I'm no professional, but I would like to see the results. From everything I read, is you don't even want to transplant autos. You want to put them in their forever home, because you don't want to shock them. Every plant gets transplant when you shock it, right? No matter how much mycos or bacteria you add to it, it's going to shock the plant. And again, from my understanding and my reading, this is like text of 5 years ago, because I haven't took it serious since, right?
Sure.
But they say that you just don't have the time to transplant it. Don't shock the plant. Just keep giving it everything it needs from day one, and start it in a 5-10 gallon pot. It's finishing pot.
That's definitely the easiest, and it's foolproof. That's what I do. I only use a 1 gallon, but since I use cloth, the roots don't get root bound. That's the beauty of the cloth. They grow to the cloth, and then they air prune themselves. Yeah. So your medium will dry out a little faster, but 0 root bound. I can grow a plant that's fucking giant in 1 gallon pots as long as I'm watering it right and treating it right. And as long as that's the cloth pot, and the roots can keep growing even though they're getting cut off a little
winding up. Yeah.
So with those autos, when I initially had heard that, I was like, okay, I'm just going to run to the single gallon. I'm never touching it. I'm putting my seed in there. I'm not even gonna put my seed in some water and a paper towel like I usually do. I started getting like 100% success. But I read about, and I haven't even done this, dude. I was reading this competition. These dudes had these fucking monster autos, and they're running like the same strains I've run, the same breeders I've run. Like these guys, these plants, I'm getting on mine about a QP if I'm really smashing them.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like a good yield, a QP to maybe 2 to 3 ounces.
Now, is that your strains, or is that just autos you're growing?
I would say in general. So mine do reflect that for sure. And so because of that, I put 2 to 3 per where I'd have a single plant. At least sometimes 4 or 5. If it's like a strain, I'm like, these are usually a little smaller. But I have seen, and I've heard from other people who I know are growing pretty good autos, that doing that transplant method, you can just smash them out way faster. That the root and the plant itself likes it a little bit, and that you're going to get that growth way, way, way quicker. But you have to really look for the root bound. I have not done that. I'm going to do another auto run here soon. I had a photo. I kind of switched back and forth. I had a photo hunt on a new line before I released that, and so that took up almost my whole room. I didn't really have room for my autos, but I have an auto line waiting behind it that I'm going to be testing out.
I feel like you alley-hooped me for the next question, man. Like, speak about the new line.
So I have a Stanky Haze line coming out here soon. Stanky Haze is probably one of my favorite creations. It's like the most complex. It's very like piney, sweet, citric. But it has these big, beautiful haze flowers that have some density though to them. Nice. Really like light colors, but it gets like these. It's complex in tons of ways. But the flavor mostly, I love it in a joint. because it changes its flavor really nicely through the whole joint.
Nice.
Usually
Nice.
when you get and this is just, everybody's so different smoking weed. This is just me finding what I like. But
No, for sure.
usually for me, when I smoke a joint, I get really nice flavor, and then it gets to the end. It's pretty similar, and then it gets to the end, and it gets a little hashy. This one had this like really sweet citrus pine to almost straight pine to hash that I was like just really liking and appreciating.
Yeah, for sure.
So and the ladies were all just such fucking beasts. I can't do these huge hunts, like, I'm just honest about everything I do. So I do maybe 10 plants in my hunts. I'm not doing these big giant 100 plants. So I'm hunting maybe of my own, usually 20, maybe 10.
Respect.
I want to at least see some expressions.
No, I respect that, man. I'm the same way, man. I'll tell you in a minute, man. I don't have the time or the room to do your 50,000 plant hunt. Hey, if that's what you're looking for,
yeah,
go find it. Like I can run what I can run and do the best that I can do with what I got. So shout out to you for being honest with that. That's love. No one says that. I respect that, man.
So there's a double-edged sword there too. People don't think about. If you do a 100 plant hunt and you're finding that one rare pop in your face plant, breeding that isn't going to be very true, because genetically that's 1 in 100. Genetically, what's going to pass on there, it's going to be more of that plant than any of those other plants, but it's passing on that whole lineage. So when you hunt back, so you cross that to something else, you're going to have to hunt another 100 plants to find that one.
To find that one that you were looking, yeah.
So if you're hunting through 5 or 10 ladies and they're all fire, that's what I look for. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to find a male of this, and then I'm just going to assume it's going to be fire because I'm on 100% fire here. And a lot of times it can be like that, at least for me. But another thing I want to throw out, people don't talk about very much. I breed in my conditions. So when I breed a plant and it's super stable for me, that lineage stays super stable for me. I've never had people complain about herms or anything, but it only makes sense if it gets into a garden, some genetics, since I run almost all LAD. If somebody is running an HPS garden, they might run across a cross that I didn't catch that has some kind of weird mutation, some kind of weird expression, some kind of anything that it is doing under an HPS because of whatever, hotspots, spectrum, whatever. And so how a breeder runs their garden, people don't talk about that, but it makes a difference. So we're almost all LED now, but
I know I have the perfect example for it, man. So when I was in Spain, I created the strand of Roadkill Pie, and I grown it countless numbers of times, sent it out to people, blah, 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 right? Now, when the seeds finally got to California, it started expressing this purple color that I've never seen and have yet to see in the California sun. I got pictures of it, bro, and I'm like, man, that's mine? He was like, yeah, that's yours, man. I'm like, bro, that's beautiful, man. Like, please send me a clone. But, for some odd reason, the clone never comes back. But no cap, man. Like, and to this day, man, I still cannot find those. It was done in San Diego, and the other part was, I don't remember the other part of California, but yeah, man, just sun-grown, beautiful color to it, man, and kept the cherry Sprite taste to it, but just that expression was so different and so pretty that I hate that I never found it in my own garden.
Yeah, outdoor makes such a huge difference. Also, same with breeders. Not saying that I do a lot of my stuff outdoor. I like a lot of my stuff outdoor. I've even been doing a lot of volunteers outdoor. I don't know why. I just have fun, I guess. But such a huge difference growing a plant outside compared to inside for so many reasons. But yeah, people don't talk about that a lot, and I think a lot of the reason we're seeing a lot of more stability is because back in the day, first off, the knowledge wasn't around, but everybody ran different shit. Some people had LED burples. Some people had, fluorescent. Some people had ceramic. Some people had halides. Some people had high pressure sodium.
CMH, everything.
Yeah, so it's like, and now I think almost everybody, I think if you're running, there are HPS for sure, but a lot of it's LED. There's so many cheap LEDs out there. And it's not like a shame. I like LED, but those other bulbs, it was fun. It was fun. Like ceramics personally are my favorite. If you're having a problem with spectrum, no matter what, throw a ceramic in there, and it's just a little 315 water, and you'll get a fucking giant difference out of, throw it on top of 1,000 watt, and you'll fucking get a giant difference just by adding that spectrum. I love them.
Back when I started growing, it was the end of the HPS, beginning of the Blurple era. So I never got to grow with HPS. I've seen it grown with HPS, but I've never done it personally. And, in my opinion, I don't even think you can consider yourself old school in the game if you didn't grow with HPS, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, so I never got to see expressions or just the battle it took to keep the temperature down in HPS rooms. Man, I heard the HPS lights burn hot, so I probably wouldn't even enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah.
But I heard that HPS pulls out some different terpenes that the LEDs aren't doing.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true, both those things. I always had a better time running like 3,600s rather than 2,000s because of that. Because like the 1,000, there were such hot spots that spreading that heat out a little bit would just do a lot for me. They were definitely warm, but I had somebody explain to me that what was that?
Damn.
So I had somebody explain to me once that the actual light. What's crazy about LED and HPS is that HPS or any bulb is warmer because of the reflector, not so much because of the light. LED points straight down. You got no light getting converted into heat into the reflector. As long as you keep those LED bulbs, the whatever you got over them, lens, whatever it's called, clean, you're good. Those bulbs, half of it goes up into a reflector. The reflector can dull over time. Most all of them, like if you actually talk to a rep, will say, you need a new reflector every so many years. Somebody even suggested 6 months once. Like, who's buying new reflectors every 6 months? Nobody. Nobody. Yeah. But you're not losing that heat with LED. And so when we talk about the tech, it's. Have you ever seen those? It made me open my eyes to those gardens that used to just hang their bulbs straight down. Have you ever seen that before? Just a bulb hanging down like a ceramic.
Yeah.
It's like those dudes were on to something. I never did it that way, but it's like you get rid of that reflector, and they're probably running a ceramic just as warm as an LED per watt.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess the closest thing I've ran to HPS is the CMHs from, I think it was Coty Lux.
Yeah.
The guy I was friends with at the time knew the guy, and he kind of introduced me to him, and Coty Lux like, here, I'll send it to you. You run it out and test it out. And I can't say I did not like it, but they just ran hot to me, like it was compared to like the bulbs were almost compared to like the sun. They said it's the closest bulb spectrum that you can get to the sun. And
the ceramic metal halide. Ceramic metal halide, CMHs, and LECs, light emitting ceramics, are the exact same thing. I can't remember if it was a patent or just like two different companies calling their shit two different things. But both are great. I love ceramics. I still, with all my LEDs, run some ceramics. What's crazy is people had a really hard time. I was in hydro shop when HPS turned from LED. It went from LED getting laughed at because everybody would run HPS, and then you'd bring in Burples, and they'd have their shit ran to the HPS, and they would they'd be so mad. And dude, some of these companies, a lot of the companies are really, I don't want to say shady, but their business plan was not good, and they're gone now. Like if you try to go to some of these companies, like Nextlight, big ass company, they're gone. You can't get their 5-year warranty. It's not shit, and people are still trying to sell some of their stuff.
Well,
It's crazy.
the work is going to prove itself. Once you put the light up, and honestly, I think new lighting companies should offer out their lights at the startup. Because you want to see what it can do in a practical environment. I don't
Sure.
want to see in a commercial where they have the money to fix different diodes if it break and keep going. No, I want to know in the everyday grower garden, what does this light perform? Can he bring yield? Can he bring out the terps? Can he bring out cannabinoids? You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot
Definitely.
of they can read almost anymore. And a lot of that's like in a diode. So you can say, well, they're running this diode and they're running these drivers. Those are good. So how good does this look put together? Like how clean is it? But when you run a 10-year, 5-year warranty, a lot of companies have been around now. But dude, they just got people for a little
No,
while.
for sure.
Um,
Hey,
but it was crazy because when people came from HPS to LED, they were running their rooms too cold. They're saying, "Oh, I love this. My room's equipped, to run all this heat. Now I don't have to, and I got this oversized AC now." And then they come into the shop I was at, and they say, "What's going on with my fucking plant?" You go over it, and the surface temperature of the leaf wasn't getting warm enough because with those
wow.
HPS and ceramics, even though their room was only reading a couple degrees cooler or even the same exact degree. So I've
Mhm.
always run it at 70. Well, you ran it at 70 and your bulbs are heating up your atmosphere to 85. You're running it at
Okay.
70 now and your plant's not getting warmer than 72 degrees. It's
Mm,
not warming up. The leaf temperature is not warming up. So that was a huge thing. A lot of people came from HPS to LED and they were just hated it. Even like the good LEDs. They hate it. They come back, oh, they'd spend 10 grand on these lights because they used to be 15, $1,600. They come back, like, I spent $10,000 on 7 lights and fucking furious. And be like, dude, just drop your
Hey, bro,
bill. It's crazy.
I want to ask you something. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. If you don't want to, give your opinion on it. I'm asking out of ignorance. What do you think? What's your opinions on the Seed Junkie cookies debacle, litigation, and what can like growers and people like yourself and myself do in the future to where it doesn't fall out like is and be as ugly like that? And I don't even know about it, but you
Sure.
seem like you're in the industry to answer it.
Um, I think the cannabis industry got taken really hard by business. And the cannabis industry used to be all love. The information wasn't as available, but if you trusted somebody, and you knew somebody, you were so happy to share with them. You were so happy to share cuts.
Right,
People even used to
right,
have the same cuts. People don't have the same cuts
yeah.
anymore. You can't go to somebody and be like, oh, yeah, I've been growing weed for 5 years in this area and be like, oh, well, you had to have grown this, this, and this then. Like, it doesn't matter really anymore.
No,
Not that that really
Dragonfire,
even matters
Dragon.
much. But I
I'm
think,
sorry to cut you.
no, yeah,
I'm sorry
dude,
to cut.
I
I'm sorry
apologize.
to cut you off.
The,
He's because Dragonfire brought up something. He said, "Stop working with people and do your own thing and don't partner up." I can't agree with that, bro, because I think that's not what cannabis is. Cannabis is about spreading the plant and showing love and helping grow the plant at the end of the day. So when you say stop working with people and don't partner up, bro, that's not what the community is about. And I just think we need to weed out the people that don't play by the rules, man. I think, and that's just the rules of life, period. Cannabis really doesn't have any rules and it's not governed by any particular rules, but being real.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and being a stand up person. When you think of hippies, bro, you always thought about real loving, passive people, not aggressive, not overly aggressive about money. You thought about chill ass individuals. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that the community should get back to that, and we can still do business at the same time. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, it's I don't you know what? I don't run a lot of cookies, but I appreciate Burner for what he's done as far as progressing that image. I'm not saying it's even like the best image. I'm saying We've never seen somebody in the cannabis community. I think you can look up to him, and the people that are like, holy shit, you can get on the fucking whatever Billboard or whatever top 100, whatever he hit. You can make this money. He did it. He's an advertiser. I think it's well known that a lot of the stuff he has isn't his own. I don't, that to me, I've never been anywhere. If I had to say I believe somebody and didn't believe somebody, I could, but I think it's a really hard industry right now because there's not a lot of paths burned, and it's really easy to point at people and be like, you fucking assholes. And I think the courts are going to tell us first and forehand really who did it legally. I don't think we'll ever know who was like right or who truly got fucked. A lot of times that shit is hidden in paperwork and hidden, like, you know, I don't know, bro. I try not to get involved, not even get involved in a lot of that. I just try to tell myself, no matter what's going on with any story, that there's two sides to this. People are telling me, you know, a lot of times, especially with a lot of the algorithms and crazy shit going on, maybe not with cannabis, but with other stuff in the world, you see what's going to make you see, like, they know how to play our feelings and our emotions with all kinds of shit.
Agreed.
I have a fucking Seed Junkie collection. I fucking loved seeing Bodai get paid. I fucking loved seeing Seed Junkie get paid. I fucking I loved seeing everybody get paid. I think right now it's very competitive. It's very hard to climb to that level. You know, the last person I was really geeked for was Thug Pug. I felt like he got up there. I felt like a little bit of his cult following fell off. But like he like climbed out, like he was doing his own shit in his basement, and then it went to like he had like a company doing all his shit and stuff, and that's like you want to be personal with your weed, and I'm gonna make seeds no matter what. Like that's not really what I make a lot of money off of.
Right. But I just want people to enjoy what I'm enjoying.
I have two 2x4s now. I had one 2x4. I did my photo crosses. And I got into autos. Now I have two. And so I do my auto conversions and my autos in one tent, and in my other tent, and it's just a 2x4. So, and I didn't even really release a line to public until a couple of years ago. I released the Brandywine. I didn't do that on mail or anything, though. It was like more of a local thing. And it was just recently at the auto, my auto Pooh's Peaches cross. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking the Pooh's Peaches cross. That was Hummingbird Hills too, Hummingbird Hills mail. And I ran a couple of their autos, and I was like, man, these are fire. Like these are nice. They were so easy, especially I went to the 1 gallon. I was like, this is so fucking easy. My biggest thing is, bro? Yeah, dude, my biggest thing is helping people. It's like teach a man to fish. Yeah. I really like helping people grow great weed. Don't get me wrong. I like selling great weed, and I like doing everything or getting my patients great weed. I like doing all that shit. But to me, it's so dope. And what's been super rewarding for me and been progressing me the most with the autos, because I'm still doing my photos. People are liking my autos way more, but I haven't really gotten a lot of my photos out there, honestly. But this next photo line is going to be dope. I got the Peachy Keens hitting everything right now, and it's hitting some fun fucking things. Yeah. That Stanky Haze one, they're all looking so nice for their own different. Like I threw a wild card in there too with this SSJ4, which was like.
Never even heard of it, bro.
Dude, it's like it's a runts cross. So I wouldn't say I don't like runts. I think a lot of those really popular plants are misrepresented. Yeah. I think people lie about at some point down the phone line about what something is.
That's the only thing about it. I think I'm sorry to cut you off. No, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Everything's not runts. Come on. A lot of this stuff is marketing. Like, you can't hate on the cultivar runts for somebody that lives in the back of the ghetto selling Deer Park runts, you know, like
or ice cream cake, or even Purple Punch. I felt like I got a hard hit. Purple Punch on its own wasn't that great of a plant. It didn't have super heavy terps, but it crossed. If you can get a purple punch cross, I would almost, with all the purple punch I've run, almost all crosses. I don't think I've ever run the straight purple punch, but just from talking to people, they don't like it. Every fucking purple punch cross I've ever run has been fire. Most of it's been from Secret Society, but it's all been such nice, a good cross, and I can like feel and see and taste its representation in all of its crosses, and it always accents and does nice stuff with it.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, definitely. I'm smoking Purple Punch, by the way, right now. Actually,
Straight Purple Punch.
Yeah, straight Purple Punch. It's good.
Fuck yeah.
It's good.
Dude, people always talk shit. That's one of the that's like the first thing I ever hear, and I've grown a ton of Purple Punch crosses. And maybe I just got lucky.
As hell to me.
But dude, yeah, it
ain't
was.
Gonna lie.
Is it, dude? That's literally.
Man, hey, I'm not gonna lie though. I tell you this, and I tell my homie all the time. I don't know how you do it. This may have maybe a 9-10 month cure, bro. So
nice.
Yeah,
changes.
I told him I can't. My shit. I don't know how you do it, man. Shout out to you, bro. That's whoa.
It's a long
9 months.
Yeah,
it's great.
I
can't even hate. It's great, bro. Look
270 days of burping.
Huh?
270 days of burping.
Bro.
Every day.
Oh, man. Hey, again, I'm not all about giving shout outs and whatnot, but the Grove bags work, bro. There's no burp. And
what
I like the way the Grove bags.
Grove bags. Nice.
I like the way it molds. I wish I can get my homie on to show you. I can. How it molds the bud, bro. It molds it without even you having to touch it. It molds it to make it pretty sight, bro. I can't even explain it.
That's dope,
man. I ain't gonna give no more shout outs for free, but if you got some, if you just hit me up and we can talk about them. And that's one thing I can definitely say. 2 months. He say 2 month cure on it.
Still, that's a lot of burping too. I do.
Nope.
You know, that's a long time. I traditionally use turkey bags. I love how my flavors come out and how the cure progresses. But that sounds awesome. Not to have to actually burp it. That'd be super nice.
Put it away. Yeah, and man, I got to give them a little shout out again. And they're fairly cheap, bro. Like they are manageable to be able to store your cannabis and let it just rock. And do its
wash
thing.
them? Are they like a cloth kind of, or are they like a plastic? Can you wash them and rub them out?
It's a plastic bag that's it lets air out but not in, or some shit. I don't know. It's some kind of way it does a nice exchange to where once you seal it and open the bag, there's no. And what I do is I put a little hygrometer in there as well at the window, because you can get some that's pure black, or you can get ones with a window. And I put mine in there to where I can see the relatively humidity and temperature and in the bag, and it stays consistent, man. It's dope. But yeah, man. Look, I ain't trying to do no shout outs, bro, but that shit they work, bro.
That looks nice.
Yeah,
that's cool. Fuck, dude.
They work.
I'll have to look into those. That'd be nice to
somebody
not have to fucking.
Somebody gonna clip me and send it to Grove Bags, and then they gonna post me on their page saying, "Look, verified user."
That'd be nice.
You know,
get in front of some people.
Man, I think the most important things about the Grove is this motherfucker gonna tag them. I think the most important thing about the Groves is that your product has to be dry going in. It can't be wet. Like it has to already set. Once you put it in there, you let it go. I like them.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. But I appreciate you answering that question for me, man. But I guess the only second part of the question was, what can we do in the future so that issues like that don't come up when doing business together in cannabis?
I mean, I think so. First off, when you get into business like that, that's like you get a lawyer, you look shit over. I'm sure they did all that. You know, I think from what it looked like on there was just one side was not fulfilling their contract. So I don't know. I think from what I like to do and what makes me feel good is knowing that the plant is nobody's. If somebody is dope enough to fuck with me, then I will fuck with them. And that, you know, until I see something, you know, like I'm not supporting just fucking anybody. If I see something I'm not vibing with, like, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
But I'm on a very personal level still. Like I don't, you know, I do seeds because I want to advance some shit that my garden kills, you know. And I like
And
terps. What was that?
that's
Sorry.
probably why I don't understand it, bro. Because right now I'm just in the garden and want to work with whoever wants to work with me. And I guess once you get that big and it's that much money, I guess behind it, I guess you gotta kind of
It's
do
all,
it.
yeah. They
Yeah,
definitely lowered up. They definitely had like contracts that were signed. I mean, if they didn't, I'd be so surprised. You know, I've never known that. I don't know that 100%. But just from my much smaller um, career in that side of the industry, uh, very, very common. You know, like it's the contract is what, not having a contract is how you, so the stereotype is not even a stereotype, it's true, where these gardeners go into these larger gardens and they get 6 months, maybe, you know, 8, 9 months. As soon as they train somebody, as soon as they get everything to do, they get kicked. They're probably making, you know, listen, I'm just going to throw shit out there. They're probably making, you know, 50, 70 grand a year, something like that.
yeah.
Well, they get kicked. Somebody underneath them comes in for 15 an hour, try to run the fucking garden that same way.
They already
That's
got
been
the
a huge
SOPs.
downfall in our industry. To save that, you know, 20, 30 grand a year, but really what it ends up doing is completely, like, there's so much that goes into running a large garden. I mean, we can tell that from running a small ass garden. Like, you got
Right,
one
right.
garden, you're not, you know, you got to know
Speak on
at
it.
least a little bit about plumbing.
Speak on it.
You know, like at least a
Speak
little bit
on it.
about getting water from one place to another, at least a little bit about cleaning, sterilizing, at least a little bit about like electricity. Like you got to know how to, you know, you're not going to be running on a 115 amp fucking
Right.
outlet. Like you got to know a little bit at least. And when you start getting into like running a basement garden, you got to know a lot of bit about a lot of that shit because you got to redirect a lot of shit. And then you get bigger than that, and it's
Right.
even deep. Like it affects things, little things that you don't think about in another garden. Like, where do you go first? You know, when you go into your garden and you're working for the day, you're not going to go into the flower room first because that's where you have the biggest chance of bugs. Where you can't, first off, you don't want to take bugs anywhere. So you get flower room that has bugs, that you know that has bugs, absolute last place hit of the day. When I go into the room, I want to go through my sterilization. I want to check out my little ones. Then I want to hit what I know is, it just really depends on how the garden's set up. So like my other one that I was doing big, I hit my little ones. My veg was right there. I usually didn't go into veg a ton because we were way understaffed, and I was in with my flower people because they needed training.
Yeah.
And then I go into my flower. And if you know that there's bugs somewhere, absolute last of the day. But you don't think about that in your tent.
No.
You know, and some people do it different, dude. And it really depends on how your garden's set up. A big
It's
thing.
man. I hope you're again. It all depend on what's the overall goal at the end of the day for your garden. You know, I feel like your garden should be set up that's conducive for you. You know,
Sure.
I think that's the most success.
Yeah.
If you try to mimic anything else, it's not gonna work. You know, in my opinion,
Sure.
that's just what I noticed. You know, and I had to revamp my garden thousands and thousands of times because I was trying to mimic what other people was doing until I started just
You
growing.
got
You know, I
to
think
read your
that's what
garden
makes
for sure, dude. That's a very good point. If somebody's telling you you have to do something for a problem or to do or anything, it's because that's the only way they know how to do it. There are a million ways to do almost everything in gardening. How it's going to work best for you, it can be something as simple as like how big your air conditioning is compared to the square foot of your house that your garden's in, because your air conditioning can zap out the humidity way faster. So your 2x4 tent, you don't realize, needs this humidifier, where your neighbor's 2x4 tent with an air conditioning that's not as big needs,
right.
you know, like it's just like, and that's in like every aspect of your garden. So it's when somebody says you have to do this. No, it can be a suggestion for sure, and definitely listen to people.
No,
Especially if
most
you've
definitely.
never dealt with something, there's
Most
there's
definitely.
suggestions. But if somebody's saying no, you have to do this, dude. You have to go get this enzyme. You have to go do this. That's just how they And traditionally, how we know how to garden is fucked. So like when you start talking about like, especially older gardening, when people were using like Avid and Eagle 20, and they're like, oh, it
Yeah.
works fucking great. Yeah, all I do is put a handkerchief on, and I get a little cough, but it's like that's how people used to do their shit because we didn't have the
Yeah.
education.
No, for sure, man. I can remember some old shady days, man, like in the garden. Yo, I was thinking of a story, just random shit I forgot of just playing around young with seeds. I remember having and this is just to speak to how resilient this plant wants to give to humans. I took a sponge, soaked it in water, and had it floating in the water, right? Took a seed and germinated inside that sponge. Because again, there was no information out there. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I watched it pop, watch it sprout, and then put it in the window and just watched it float around. And it growing up, seeds in the water, just searching, trying to survive, and essentially just doing a floating hydroponics for the sponge. It was
Yeah,
crazy,
that's a
man. Just
tech.
old school, just crazy story, man. I saw that shit was random as hell, but I definitely wanted to tell that story when I was on my live.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I'm
it's
suited, bro.
weed's great, dude. It's great for that. It's great for all that. There's not. Listen, we try to perfect it, and we can tell the difference between a perfect weed and a non-perfect weed a lot of times, or at least like a really great one and a not so great one for us. And the not so great one might have been grown really well, and the really great one might not have been grown really well,
Oh
but
no,
the
it
really
didn't
great
survive.
one is a great cultivar.
It didn't survive, bro.
Yeah,
It
it
it it definitely
does.
died.
Her- Hermine
But
is survival.
yeah,
That's, we don't want it, but outside, that's how that shit, the ones that herm, they go the farthest because they're saying, I'm switching sides as soon as they get a little bit of stress. Oh shit, I'm switching sides first. I'm pollinating first. I'm getting in there.
if
And then
if
other
the,
ones,
if the goal was to just make sure that cannabis survived any type of natural disaster, then those
auto
would be
herms.
great plants. You know what I mean? Those would be great
Mm-hmm.
plants.
Yep.
But that's not what as cultivars is trying to make a profit. Let's just be honest. In some kind of form of fashion, in the legal market, you want to make a profit, right?
Yeah.
So those are conducive to making money, unfortunately, because they produce seeds. But for the survival of the plant, that's a great ass plant to me,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know?
yeah. That's how it survives outside. But one of my favorite things to do is I collect like when I like hang or like I have this little net kind of thing that I put my seeded plants in that so it can catch the seeds that fall out and I can know like, hey, this strain was in this and I can get these 10 seeds and know whose they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes I don't get a seed and I go back through to clean it out for the next one. I'm like, oh, here's 6, 7 seeds I missed. I put them
And
aside. I don't know what the fuck they are. And then sometimes I'll be like trimming up. Oh, here's a seed. I breed 6 feet from my flower door. I spray the shit out with water every time before I enter. I'm very, very careful. I use negative pressure and airflow pretty well. Still, shit's gonna happen. I don't get complaints. Usually people are geeked if they find us. They're like, oh, I found a seed in this. I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna
I
pop it?
don't
Like,
know what
fuck
it is,
yeah. I'm
brother.
like, yeah. But it's when I'm trimming, if I find the occasional seed, I put it to the side and I put these in a little collection. And when I get like some nice walks on a nice rainy day, where not too hot in the summer, I throw this shit out like in my local parks and stuff, and just
You
fucking
know,
throw this shit out.
layups,
And
all type of layups.
hey, I just like we're gonna see who's winning, And
Yeah,
I don't know if it's ever gonna do anything, but it makes me have a really fun time walking.
man, you bold as hell, bro.
I just hey, it's just some fucking
Now,
just seeds.
yeah, they're legal when you think about it.
I'm just
Farm
fucking
bill,
throwing some seeds. I don't know what those fucking seeds are.
Yeah,
That's the
man.
problem.
I definitely got to get some of that haze in my garden, bro.
Sure.
I definitely want to grow some of the stanky haze. Definitely.
Dude, they're
So
both,
me,
they're all so nice. Even the wild one, the SSJ4. So this thing was wild, but it was the most blueberry plant. It just didn't have very good structure. It was super low yielding, bad leaf to flower ratio, but so goddamn blueberry. And the haze
nice.
it's a giant monster, like haze flower. I was like, this thing's gonna add. I used the Ice Queen haze to add some size
What,
to everything else, and it came through in
what
the Stanky haze. And
what do you pull it on?
what was that?
What are you pulling it on? How many days?
Oh, I do almost everything 77. I run full
Woo.
10. I run to 11. Um, but yeah, that one I'm taking on the seed one. One of my other trays was finishing a little early. So I'm not sure, I fucked something up probably, ran a flush too hard or something. But so I'm taking that one a week early but I like 10 weeks to me is like the sweet spot for most stuff. I've had a couple things like show some bananas when I get into those late days. I'm like, oh, this is an 8-weeker. I definitely ran this too long.
Right.
But I don't look at the trikes a ton. I smell it. I look at the tray. Usually it's a whole tray of like 20 different strains, or if not different strains, different selections of one strain. And so it's like, it's like a collective best. They're all in the shit together. It's real hard to cut out half of a trellis, and then I run all my likes for half of the table kind of shit or something. Like it's all going together.
So I got a question.
Sure.
What strand do you think the community of yours they need to know about? Like, you want to put that one first?
Man, which one first? That's
Would it be
Stanky
an
Haze. I
auto or would it
fucking
be a
love.
rig?
Dude, I can tell you this. People have liked my autos way more than my regs. My autos and I don't even like saying mine. The autos that I've had, I have so I'm only gonna be doing 100 packs of everything. I'm only in a 2x4, so if I can even get to 100 packs, because I like to keep at least 100 seeds besides for me on the side.
For sure.
And with those autos, I think I did 200 because it's like I can't ever remake those exact autos. I can have to them, but I can't remake those exact autos. I don't have the parents anymore. You can't keep them. So
Right.
it I would say, so personally, I like that Stanky Haze is literally my favorite fucking plant that I've made. That's why it's the first thing that I was like, my name's out there now. I actually release seeds to public or whatever you want to call it. I got fucking packs out there. People can get a hold of me. I got my mailing down. I got my fucking stickers. I'm doing my shit on it now. It's not just homies getting Mylar packs or little glass jars or whatever I got laying around.
For sure. I'm definitely gonna save a space in my garden for the haze for me.
Dude, yeah. And I'm gonna, so my first Fem project I got coming up, I got all my mixes going. I've had a couple people who have Fem before use them. They worked great, they said. I've never actually femmed anything. But my first Fem product is going to be a Nightmare OG. Not my cut, not my creation, Sin City. It was a cut going around up here that a buddy got me that I just fucking fell in love with. And so
nice.
I'll have that coming out. I'll really like that. That one will really be nice. But I would say one from the Stanky Haze line. So I'm not releasing the F2s. The seeds are really light colored. They're nice. I've popped a few of them, like a dozen, and they all popped nice. They're just like white yellow, and people aren't gonna like them, and so I didn't release them. And like I'm not, but the Stanky Kush Breath is a strawberry Kush Breath that is just fucking every one. I think I have 8 ladies right now on the table, and every one, even this little one that got kind of shadowed in the side, is just fucking nuts.
Nice.
The peach
that's
thing,
the one I want to wait for.
Dude,
that's the one.
They all really like they're all super stable in their expressions, which was nice. They all looked very similar. We'll see how they smoke. except for that Strawberry Kush Breath. That one has one of those ladies that's way different. Much smaller flowers, but like just different, dude. Like smaller, but like I don't want to say frostier because they're all like frosted out, but like just look a little different. So
No,
um,
I know exactly what you mean. I did my first attempt at feminizing the King Neptune last go round, and I got it to reverse. Took forever, and it didn't create a lot of seeds, or at least seeds that I would want to even use.
yeah,
So I collected what I could, and I'm finna give them to my homie. He gonna find it,
yeah,
and we gonna run from there. Like
yeah. It's just
feminized, I see why feminized seeds can be expensive because that was a really hard process.
yeah,
Like you had to be methodical and meticulous about it, and at the point, I wasn't successful at it. You know,
yeah,
I wouldn't call it a success. I would call it a success in the fact that I created seeds and I know that we'll find something. You know, but the fact that I don't know how you guys are getting thousands and thousands of seeds while trying to maintain other shit. Y'all
yeah,
do a
yeah.
great job.
Dog, it's not, it's a lot of time, bro. I made, first off, best thing I ever did was make a seed cleaner out of like a fucking ducting fan, very low powered fan,
Old
and
school.
some ducting, and just drop some seeds in there and shake them and tilt them one way and have the fan blowing the other way to blow the leaf and all that shit off of there.
Yeah.
Make sure they're real dry. Like I break down my seeds and then I let them sit in a paper bag for like another week to get real dry.
Mm-hmm.
And that way that dust and all that plant material really just flies off real easily and the beans can just roll down. That saved me. It's like taking away trimming.
You too?
That saved me so much time making
Damn.
that.
Take it away,
It was
Trevor.
like it was because you're sorting those seeds by hand. You got 1,000 of 4 or 5 different strains coming out of a tent 4 times a year. My first couple runs, I was like, holy crap. Yeah, that's the first reason I didn't really release a lot of that I didn't release, like the brandy wine that came out, and I think I made like 50 packs total with a bunch of different, like maybe like 20 packs of a bunch of different random ones scattered in that were freebies.
No, man. I don't feel like that's failure or not success because the fact that you have standards that you won't even put stuff out if it don't even match up in line to what you do. So like the same what I do, is excellent, bro. Like that's why I think we do get the love and respect that we do is because of little nuances like that a lot of people won't mention and point out. But I appreciate that. I want the same respect when I spend my money with you, that I'm getting the best of what you can do,
Sure,
and so
sure.
I have respect to that, man. I got to point that
Oh,
out.
thank you. Yeah, just
Definitely.
honesty, man. We just need to be honest with each other. There is a niche for literally everything in this industry. People
Yep.
don't want, yeah, of course, everybody wants the absolutely best, rarest, this and that, of course. But, dude, honestly, when I started seeing some of the names that I really liked back in the day, 6, 7 years ago, when I started seeing them coming out with a new strain at a new bank every week, the first thing I thought was, and I'm not shitting on them, hopefully they did test them. But the first thing I thought was, well, are these tested? How are these made in the same garden? And being in the same garden might even be a negative, but it's like if somebody different is watching after them than if it's in a different garden.
Yeah.
So where's the direction here? At this point, are you just trying to throw together nice names that people like, or are you actually looking at this and saying, well, this could use I really like this plant for this reason. I really like this plant for this reason. I picked my male because it can cover a lot of these areas. I'm trying to get better on these plants, which is usually just vigor and keep the frost,
You know what I hate though?
Yeah.
In the community that makes us kind of snooty when we ask questions like that.
Sure.
I get all type of faces, and my wife even taps me sometime. Like, but these are questions I want to know because you're presenting in such a way, like you're talking shop with me. So now, since you opened it up, let's talk.
Yeah,
so when I'm not getting the answers that I when you just sound like you don't know what you're talking about now, it makes me believe or assume that what you selling me is bullshit.
Yeah.
No offense, but that's just
Or you don't
you
know.
know.
And like, if you don't, it's okay. If you don't know, if you're, dude, I don't even know if this is bad or what. I just like to have fun. If I like this and I like that, and I want to say, well, what are these babies going to do? How am I going to see this expression come through? Following like different dominants is super fun to me. So I got really lucky with one of my first male. It was like my third male. So, but one of the first males I ever fucked with, it was just didn't fuck with flavor, and it just added this giant vigor frost haze flower, and as Ice Queen haze. It didn't fuck with flavor, so it was really nice. Everything it crossed into, took that giant frosty haze dominance
Mm-hmm.
into its breeding, and so like I can follow this stanky haze. You know, you never know 100%, but I was so geeked. I was like, I wonder what this is gonna do. Like taking this into some of these other plants that are just smashing already, and it's
Bro,
been that line is and the peach stank, bro. I like the peach stank. Uh, the vigor and how strong this fucking plant, every one of them was just like, I was like all right, I found a dad. I always mark my plants. My first couple plants I find that are like terpy when I'm like trimming them up in veg, I mark them. The little thing says terpy on them. Our homie Terp Fiend, I just had a 706 that was a male that had a terpy on it. And I was like, no. Like when I have to take the terpy out for being a male, if it's a male I want to
oh
fuck with,
God.
but I didn't want to take one of his 706s, and I asked him, he had other plans, and so I took it out, and I was so butthurt by it because it was so terpy. It was one of my two marked terpy, and I was like, no. But
So
the other 706s look nice. So
I have a Turk bomb right now that I selected like maybe a year and a half ago. I fought and fought to keep it alive, bro, and I finally kept it alive because the smoke was just phenomenal
fire.
on it. So fast forward a little bit. My homie Swag and I, we do the King Neptune cross. The King Neptune is just stupid fire, right? I use the London pound cake pollen that I got from Dirty Mittens, right? And so I got this Turk bomb, and I hit it now with the same pollen that I used to create the King Neptune, right? And it's growing these beautiful plants, bro. Like
Nice.
beautiful, man. I took clones of it, and I cannot wait to flower them out, man. They looking amazing. Like,
That's the
and I
best.
already know what that London pound cake brings, so I'm excited to see those two plants do their little dance. You know,
Heck
because
yeah.
they looking nice right now, man. For sure.
I
I took
I just recently grew London pound cake for the first time. I had it in the seed repertoire, and a friend reached out and asked if I had it, and I did, and so I gave it to him. I do that a lot. If a friend says, "Hey, you got something like this?" "Yeah, I do. Just give me the winning cut. You can hunt whatever you want. Just give me the winner." And he gave me the winning cut back, and it was so freaking cakey. It's super nice. Beasted on yield. It was a
nice.
great selection by him. From Bread by 42. So if you have your chance, I don't even know them. I don't know nothing about them. It was just the only straight London pound cake I had, and
Right.
it was
I don't,
nice.
so what got me was he sent me a picture of the father, and it was one of the craziest males I've ever seen. But him and King Solomon from Rasta Jeff, that shit was crazy too. But the male that he used, I was like, hey brother, you know how I am. If we cool, we cool. I asked him if you don't mind, please bless me with it. Yep, wow, he sent it. And then the Turk bomb, that's a no
Yeah,
brainer, you know. So I totally understand that shit. That shit is crazy, man. Like
breaks your
enjoy it.
soul a little bit. You're like, no, but yeah, it's always nice to see the male express. That's I have some hemp stuff going on, or had some in Illinois. This is our last year, but we're not doing much. We're doing some volunteer stuff out there, but that's it. And just like letting volunteer
Nice.
seeds grow and seeing how they go, just because we're scattered with them because we did like a seed run in one of our hoop houses last year, and so
Nice.
I got a ton of CBD crosses of some that are really fun. I'm doing some work with them right now. Actually, I got them running my first like little CBD corner of it
Right.
crossed Stanky Haze pollen I took out and hit it with.
For
But
sure. For sure.
yeah, it would be
It,
cool. But I was thinking,
But hey,
and I didn't get around to it, of this year doing a big male hunt out there, because I can have as many cannabis plants as I want as long as they're not over zero point 0.3 THC.
and the male won't do that.
Exactly.
Or if it
And so
did,
I was like,
if it
man, maybe I should do
did,
just
you
like a
won't get
big ass
your
hunt. Take the
what?
ladies
Yeah.
here, take the guys out there, see how they express, keep my cut, do it just like it. But I didn't get. It's 7 hours away from my house. That farm, it's my parents, and it's just too
Nah,
much.
someone would have to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's a long way to drive.
my parents been doing it, and they loved it, but it was just a lot, and the laws there kind of been changing, and they've been really hard to get different license for a lot of different stuff. So they got their license to grow CBD and to do all this
Yeah.
stuff, but the states like got some new people to regulate some different stuff, and they weren't very organized. And you try to get a license to release a CBD product, it's very like you. We called everywhere that we were told to, and nobody could help us for over a year. And so we were just like, well, fuck, did we really put in the time and the effort this last year? Because it's a 3-year license. But so we ended up not doing it. But there's a bunch of strong volunteers out there.
Hey, bro. So we coming up on the hour, man. Why don't you tell them what can they find you at?
Yeah, I do a lot of my stuff on here, Regal Beagle. That Regal Beagle at Gmail. I always take emails and stuff too. Do small 100-pack top seeds. Got a few lines out, a few lines coming out. And we do the grow hour too, which is a lot of fun. We'll have to talk about and shit. So
No, for
it'll be good.
sure, man. I was on it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait, man. I cannot wait till the episode drop, man. You guys got it exclusive. I've never mentioned it to anybody, but I was gonna wait till it dropped. So that's gonna be an episode that's coming, man. We totally excited for that shit.
Nice.
He said it was a good one.
Good.
He told me it was a good one. I ain't heard it, but he told me it was a good
Fuck
one.
yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. All right, brother, man. Hey, this has been another episode of Business is Blooming, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you, man. We'll be here again next week. If you guys will be here like this, man, we'll keep talking. So respect to everybody that joined out. Bet.